On the 30th of July, Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that the Board of Peace had reached a historic agreement for the complete disarmament of Hamas and all other armed groups in Gaza. 3 days later, the Board of Peace changed its position on the central condition of that agreement after its envoy met Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem. That sequence is the episode. The Board of Peace was announced at Davos in January 2026, originally as a body to oversee Gaza's reconstruction after the ceasefire. By the time its charter was circulated to potential member states, the document did not mention Gaza or Israel. It described instead a permanent international organization to secure peace in all areas threatened by conflict. Permanent membership required a financial commitment of $1 billion. Trump would chair it indefinitely, including potentially beyond his term as president. The executive board includes Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, Steve Witkoff, his long-term friend and business partner, Marco Rubio, former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, and Apollo Global Management CEO Mark Rowan. France, Germany, Norway, Italy, the UK, Spain, Ireland, Sweden, Poland, Greece, and New Zealand declined to join. The members who did join include the Gulf monarchies, Hungary under Viktor Orban, Belarus, and Kosovo. Rights experts described it as a colonial structure. No Palestinian representative sits on it. On the 30th of July, the board announced what Trump called a historic agreement for Hamas's complete disarmament. The board's own top envoy, Nikolai Mladenov, wrote on X that withdrawal must be in lockstep with decommissioning, simultaneous, in parallel. One could not happen without the other. Senior Hamas official Ghazi Hamad told Al Jazeera, CNN, and Reuters the same thing from the other side. The agreement is a package, he said. Hamas will not take any disarmament step before Israel pulls back to the yellow line, not one step. And Hamas will not implement any part of the deal if Israel fails to meet its obligations. Israel had not commented publicly on the deal, but a senior Israeli official told the Times of Israel directly there will be no IDF withdrawal from the yellow line before Hamas is disarmed and the strip is fully demilitarized. 2 days later, the board's envoy met Netanyahu in Jerusalem. What came out of that meeting was a statement. The Board of Peace clarified that the IDF's withdrawal from Gaza will only take place once all weapons and military infrastructure in Gaza are decommissioned, and it blamed the original understanding that the withdrawal and the decommissioning would happen simultaneously on what it called inaccurate reports. The inaccurate report was written by their own envoy 4 days earlier. On the board's own X account, Hamad, for his part, told Piers Morgan directly what this means from the Palestinian side. He called the agreement an exceptional deal born of exceptional circumstances, genocide, oppression, and a watching world that did nothing to stop it. He said Hamas did its best to save Palestinians from displacement, mass killing, and genocide. He called it a force of necessity. He admitted he is not pleased with it and wanted something better. And he noted that in the days after Hamas accepted, Israel killed more than 30 people, which he read as a message that Israel has no interest in honoring the deal. He is watching the same sequence play out that this channel has documented across multiple episodes. The declaration arrives, the declaration is changed after a meeting with Netanyahu, and the people of Gaza are left with neither the agreement they were promised, nor the end to the violence they were told the agreement would bring. Take a step back from this specific sequence and look at what the Board of Peace actually is. It started as a Gaza reconstruction body. Its charter dropped all mention of Gaza. It expanded to a global mandate to resolve conflicts everywhere. Permanent membership costs $1 billion. Trump chairs it indefinitely. His son-in-law and his personal business envoy sit on the executive board alongside a former British Prime Minister and the chief executive of one of the world's largest private equity firms. The National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, the technocratic body the board created to govern the territory, is headquartered in Cairo. It has been unable to enter Gaza at all. The body tasked with delivering aid to Gaza cannot enter Gaza. The body tasked with governing Gaza cannot enter Gaza. The body tasked with overseeing Hamas's disarmament changed its central condition after a 45-minute meeting with the man whose government has killed more than 600 Palestinians since the ceasefire supposedly began in October of last year. Israeli forces currently occupy roughly 64% of Gaza. Under the original ceasefire terms, the yellow line withdrawal would have reduced that to 53%. Under the new board position, Israel withdraws after the disarmament is complete, which means Israel withdraws when Israel decides disarmament is complete, which is not a withdrawal condition, it is a veto. Meanwhile, Netanyahu's office has indicated it opposes the plan even in its revised form. A board of peace official estimated disarmament would take between 200 and 320 days. A US official played down the timeline. Israel has not stopped its strikes. More than 30 people were killed in the days following the announcement of this so-called historic agreement. There is a phrase Kushner used at the Davos ceremony when the Board of Peace was launched. He said, "Peace is a different deal than a business deal." He said it as though the distinction mattered, as though acknowledging the difference between the two was itself a form of accountability. The Board of Peace charges $1 billion for permanent membership. Its executive board is staffed by the president's son-in-law, the president's personal business envoy, and the chief executive of a private equity firm. The Gulf monarchies who joined, the same governments whose sovereign wealth funds have been the primary source of capital for Jared Kushner's affinity partners, are permanent members. The body that was supposed to oversee Gaza's future cannot enter Gaza, and the central condition of the agreement, announced as historic, was changed after a meeting with a man whose government opposes the agreement. This channel has previously documented what it looks like when the declaration and the action serve different purposes, when the symbol exists to create the appearance of resolution while the substance moves in a different direction entirely. The board has declared a historic agreement. Israel's position has not changed. The occupation continues. The strikes continue. The people of Gaza, having survived a genocide, oppression, and a watching world that did nothing, are being asked to disarm before a single Israeli soldier withdraws. The Board of Peace is not a peace body that failed. It is working exactly as the institution that designed it intended. The world is complex. The noise is deliberate. The spectrum cuts through it.